Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sheep Get Sheared podcast. We're here, we talk about people, politics, and popular culture. I'm your host, Austin Creed. Welcome into the morning show. This morning show is going to be a little different. Normally, I talk about motivation and inspiration, and we'll touch on those topics. Rest assured, we will. However, when I woke up this morning, I was having kind of an interesting little inner dialogue, and I've come to realize something that I'm sure is not new to certain people who've been in the game longer than me, as I'm a younger man. However, the more I look around, not only on the internet, but also in real life, I've come to this realization that relationships are largely beta or for men who are not the first option. And you know what's the saddest part of what I just said? It's not that I said it. It's the fact that it's the men who are immediately going to buck what I said. They're going to respond emotionally, and they're immediately going to attack me and tell me that I'm wrong, I'm the problem, I'm this and I'm that, without saying, hold on, let me take my emotions out of this for 2 seconds, and let's look at this logically. Indirectly, if you responded emotionally to what I just said, you inadvertently proved my point exactly. And I'm not the kind of person to get stuck on labels, alpha, beta, gamma, who can keep track of this garbage? But what I do want to raise is this important reality that's becoming more and more apparent. It's becoming more obvious the more I look at it both online, I see it in real life, I can even see it in fiction. And people can argue that fiction is not important, it's not something that you should be focused on. Look, art imitates life and life imitates art. And so I think it would be very advantageous, I would say, to look at both art and life because they tend to go hand in hand. My friends, when I look at relationships today, I see that there are dudes that I love in real life, and this is not a slight against them. They're great dudes. The problem is not so much them, it's the fact that we as men, we've been lied to for so long. We've been lied to by society. We've been lied to by teachers. We've been lied to by the internet. And we've been lied to by the people in our lives concerning the nature of relationships itself. Now, I go into very extensive detail on this topic in my book, Biblical Bachelor, which is coming out tomorrow. Can you believe this? I'm going to be honest with y'all, I cannot believe it's coming out tomorrow. It seemed like it's been so far away for so long, but it's finally coming out tomorrow. So today is the last day you can pre-order it because it's being released tomorrow. So go check it out on Amazon. It's going to be fantastic. And if you don't, if this is the first time you're listening to the show, and, I'm going to go on record right now, and I'm going to say that after today, when my book is released, anybody who wants to come on here and tell me that I don't know that I'm wrong or that so basically you're saying this or essentially you're saying that, if you haven't read my book after today, there's no point in me having this conversation with you because you don't know where I'm coming from. You're taking one excerpt of one episode of over 200 that I've done, and you want to try to castigate me or define me by one little monologue. It's not fair. It's straw manning me at that point. But my friends, relationships are largely beta not because the men who enter it are beta, but because you will become more and more controlled. Women brag, by the way, about how they train, quote unquote, train their man. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go on TikTok and look it up. Go on YouTube and look it up. I'm not making this up. And I've seen men that I still love to this day. Relationships change people, dude. This is nothing new to anybody who's actually been in a relationship or at least been around someone who's in a relationship at the moment. People change to make the other person happy, and here's the problem. The problem is relationships have kind of lost their way. And again, all these points I make today are at least somewhat tied in to my book, Biblical Bachelor, because that is my manifesto, so to speak, when it comes to how I view the world and how I view the condition of the young man today. And that goes across racial lines, goes across religious lines. When it comes down to it, we as young men have been lied to. We've been deceived, we've been gaslit, we've been lied to. And so in a certain regard, it's not our fault that we didn't learn this earlier, or if you don't know it now, that you haven't learned it yet. It's not completely your fault. It's not. However, it doesn't matter whose fault it is. What matters is that you learn it. Because if you don't learn it, feel free to completely dismiss what I'm saying. I invite you to totally ignore what I'm saying, because I know what's going to happen. You're going to call me names. You're going to tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. You're going to call me names. You're going to be like, oh no, girl, I know that he's not right. He's lying. He would never do that to me. I know you're different, this, that, and the other. 5 years from now, 10 years from now, your relationship's going to fall apart. You're going to be like, oh, damn, dude, Austin was right, man. Shoot. Man, he was right. And then you're going to come back, and I'm going to still be doing this show. And then you're going to come back and you're going to hit me up in one of my comment sections. And you're going to say, hey, guys, I used to think Austin was full of crap and he doesn't know what he's talking about. But actually, yeah, he was right the whole time. Look, I'm telling you, it's going to happen to hundreds of guys out there who are listening to this show. I see the numbers on who's listening to the show. I know what's going to happen. People are going to listen to me. They're going to think that I'm entertaining or I'm a shock jock. I don't know what I'm talking about. And then immediately afterwards, they're going to start down this yellow brick road of lies and deceit. And then immediately 5 years from now, 10 years from now, they're going to wake up and they're going to realize, oh my goodness, dude, he was right. And then they're going to come back and they're going to admit to me that I was right the whole time. Mark my words. I know it's going to happen. Why? Because it happened to me. You think I always believed the things I believe today? No. I was brought up the same way to think that women were sugar spice and everything nice, and that the men were dogs and pigs, and that I needed to do this and needed to do that. And guess what? It's all lies. And don't use this as an excuse to hate women. It's a waste of your time. Don't do that. I'm not telling you to do that. Because at the end of the day, that's a complete waste of your time, and it's only going to lead to more problems. You need to be indifferent to the deceptive ways of other people. Look, I want to be totally honest with y'all. The reason why I say relationships are largely beta is not because I'm trying to insult you. I'm trying to get you to wake up to see reality. You ever see men who are in relationships and they used to be a certain way and they're completely changing themselves to try to satisfy a woman, or maybe even their girlfriend used to really respect them, be all over them and love them, and now the girlfriend's kind of insulting them, casually putting them down, all that kind of stuff, but under the guise of being a jokester and being funny. Or the guy in the relationship says something like, oh, she's a pistol, that one. Yucking it up, talking about how his wife is disrespecting him, but he doesn't see it as disrespect. He sees it as being cute. No, it's not cute. You're being disrespected. My friends, relationships have largely become almost impossible in our modern day world because women have so many options out here. And there are men who have options too. This is true. However, it's only the top 10, if maybe 15% of men who have options out here. Most dudes have no options, and so they'll latch on to the nearest woman who will even pay them any kind of attention, and women know it. They know this, and they will use you. I mentioned this quote yesterday when I did the commandments of communism. I mentioned a quote by Karl Marx where he said that use is the only currency in a bourgeois capitalist society. There is no love between man and a bourgeois capitalist society. You know, he wasn't wrong about that, by the way. Use, but it's not just capitalism. Take out the capitalism part. He says that use is the only currency. I mean, is he wrong? We all use people. This is a fact of reality. And if you think that, and use doesn't always mean that you're using them and throwing them away. It just means you're benefiting from the relationship. It means you're getting something out of communicating, or being, whether it's a relationship is romantic, platonic, whatever, you're gaining something from that. That's a use. You're using that person to feel good or benefit yourself. But that doesn't have to be negative. But you need to realize that that is use. Whether it's toxic or tolerable, you need to understand that it's happening. And that's why I say that committed relationships are largely beta, because you're doing it as an expression of you don't think you can do better. You don't think that you have the capacity to gain more leverage and options. It's the safe route for many men. It is the safe road. And I don't want you to play life safe. Playing life safe is a shortcut to failure and regret. And I don't want any of you to feel regret, shame, and look back and say, I wish I'd done this. I wished I'd done that. I don't want you to do that. If you're happy in your relationship right now, God bless you. I'm happy for you. Just be aware of the games. If you think that games stop once the commitment starts, you are sorely mistaken. In fact, that's when the real games begin. You know, in my philosophy class last year, I mentioned to my professor one time that I believe that in every relationship that there was a power dynamic in play, and that I was skeptical about how people defined love, because love was largely defined by poets and story writers and playwrights of the past. And I said that there's always a power dynamic in every relationship, and whoever holds that power dynamic is in charge of that relationship. And he looked at me, I will never forget this. He looked at me while we were in class and he said to me, Austin, if you firmly believe that to be true, then you are a very sad person. And I pity you. Oh yeah. Yeah, he said that to me. He said that to me. No, I wasn't offended by that. I'm sure some people might have been offended by that. But to me, all I heard was, how dare you be right? I'm not willing to accept what you've just told me. So therefore, I'm going to insult you. I'm going to change the subject to you, not what you just said. Anytime you ever hear someone deflect like that, you know that they are uncomfortable with what you just said, and they don't want to accept or think about what you said. They want to change the subject about you. And that is a symptom of someone who has just lost the argument and feels threatened by what you just said. My friends, good medicine tastes lousy. And good old Austin, me, gives you the pill that you need to get straight. Gives you the pill that you need to take every day so that you can see things for how they are, not how you wish they were. And I'm willing to take the backlash. I'm willing to take the flack for being the one that has to to tell you the truth of what's going on in the world today. Whether it's politics, religion, self-improvement, personal development, all of it's in my wheelhouse. Because all of them are tied together into the holistic perspective of you. All of it is a different offshoot of the trunk that is you. And if you don't realize that everything is tied together, and that if you make a mistake in one of these areas and you don't wise up to the fact that you're messing up or that you've dropped the ball in a certain area, it will overflow into other avenues of your life. And I don't want you to be lacking in any department in your life. And that is exactly why I do this show. Not because I want to tell you how right I am. It's to get you to think and develop your own personal philosophy that can make your life better, make you win more than you did yesterday or last week. My friends, do not enter a relationship purely because you think you're lacking or because you want to play it safe. You need to understand that people do not always have your best intentions at heart. In fact, the one thing you can trust in life is this. People will always look out for their own self-interest. That is the one thing you can trust in this life. And if you find that insulting, you shouldn't, because that's just the way of all flesh. You need to realize that with leverage and options comes opportunity. And I don't want you to forego potential growth based off of current convenience and fleeting emotions. My friends, please accept the fact that relationships are largely not in your best interest, especially if you're a younger guy. They're largely going to hold you back because the divorce rate is super high. And last time I checked, 80% of marriages were filed by women. Divorces, 80% women. This is not an accident. My friends, do not use this as an excuse to hate people. Use this as an excuse to love yourself and do better for yourself, because to thine own self be true, as Shakespeare wrote. If you're not going to care about yourself, then you can't expect someone else to care about you. And I want you to win. But the problem is we've been told that caring about ourselves is selfish, when in fact that's completely false. My friends, please accept the lousy medicine that I'm giving you today, and that will take you out of la la land and into reality. My friends, God bless you. God bless your families. God bless America. Remember, I want you to think for yourself and not just give in to the okie doke and the lies that you've been told, because largely the lies you've been told will benefit somebody, and that somebody is likely not you. Peace.